In today's video, we want to compare the cities of Dallas versus Houston. Which one's better? Which one's going to be right for you? Well, it's another one of those topics that we want to get into because we have had multiple people wanting to discuss their move here to the great state of Texas. Is Houston a better option? Is Dallas a better option? Obviously, we live here in the Dallas metro area, so that's what we focus our channel on. But we do like to try and answer some of these questions for people who may have never even been here to the state of Texas. And is Houston going to be an option that might fit your lifestyle a little bit better? This is something that has come up fairly recently because we have been dealing with one of our clients over quite a few months, and they initially were wondering if they should move to Houston or to Dallas. We can't make that decision for them. And so something that we had talked about quite a bit. And so we thought we would dive into it a little bit more here on our channel to answer some of those questions and to help you determine if Houston or Dallas might be the right fit for you. But first up, my name is Kristen Carpentier, and I'm a licensed realtor here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And if you have any questions at all about what it's like moving here or some of the great areas that we have here in the Dallas metro area, don't forget to reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and let us know how we can help answer those questions about if the Dallas area is going to be right for you. But also, we do partner with agents all across the country, and specifically some fantastic agents down in the Houston area if that is going to be your option. So feel free to let us know how we can help. Now let's dive into it, Houston versus Dallas. Now, of course, let's talk a little bit first up about the size and the population and the median price point. Well, the population here in the Dallas metro area is just over 7.8 million people, and the city of Houston is around 6.7 million people. Well, back in the day, Houston was actually the fourth largest metro here in the entire country. New York, LA, and Chicago were the top three, but Dallas has since beat out Houston as being the fourth largest metro here in the country. So it is quite big, but also here in Dallas, being right here in the middle of the state of Texas practically, Dallas metro can continue to grow in every direction. So that's why we say that it can continue to grow. There is a lot more opportunity for growth here in the Dallas area. And when we're speaking about size of the metropolitan areas here, the Dallas metro area is over 9,000 square miles, but down in Houston, the area is around 10,000 square miles, but technically only about 8,900 square miles worth of land. There's a lot of water that does go up and around and through the Houston area, places like the Trinity Bay or the Galveston Bay, but encompassing all of the land, it is certainly a little bit smaller if you're going to take out the water. Now, the median price point of homes here in the Dallas metro area is around $420,000. But if you want something a little bit more affordable, maybe head down to Houston where the median price point is only around $315,000. So sometimes that can make a big difference to people wanting to relocate, finding some opportunities there that are a little bit more affordable. Yes, you can find some affordable price points here in the Dallas metro area. You might be a little bit further on the outskirts of town, but you can find homes in that $300,000 price point. But obviously, Houston as a whole has a much lower median price point of homes, if that is certainly something that you are looking for. Now, Dallas versus Houston both do have some amazing master plan communities, but Dallas seems to be showing that it is growing at a much faster rate, and it does have room to grow. Now, the Dallas metro area does encompass Dallas, Fort Worth, and Frisco, which really is kind of poised to be one of the bigger hotspots coming up in the next few years because of the amount of growth in the Frisco area and what is going on up there. They have the PGA headquarters that just moved in up there. They have Universal Studios, plus a lot of the minor league sports teams and activities that are happening up in the Frisco area. So not only is it just going to be the Dallas-Fort Worth metro, but we are kind of throwing that whole Frisco area into that big hot spot of the metro as well. Now let's get into a little bit on the job opportunities here in Texas, Dallas versus Houston. Well, when you're thinking of jobs and what type of opportunities and where should you go, well, here in Dallas, they say that the jobs tend to be a little bit more modern. They have more opportunities for job growth in the Dallas area. And Dallas is known for having a lot more IT, finance, and healthcare jobs compared to Houston. But down in Houston, if you're more in the energy sector, if you want to get into the oil and gas business, there's going to be a lot more opportunities down in the Houston area. They are also known for aerospace. Obviously, that's where NASA is, biomedical, some healthcare, as well as manufacturing. But the job growth overall tends to be growing at a much more rapid pace here in the Dallas area. So just something to think about. A lot of jobs have relocated to both areas, but Dallas is probably going to win out over Houston in the job growth. Now, another little sticky situation if you're moving here to the great state of Texas and trying to determine if you should go to Dallas versus Houston. We talk about it all the time here on our channel. We came from Arizona, where it is pretty much the steaming hot desert. Well, it's probably not steaming, it's just more feels like fire, I guess you could say, because it's a very dry heat, as everybody likes to talk about. Well, here in Dallas and Houston, you got the humidity. Now, Dallas is hot and humid, but it is significantly less humid than the Houston area. Houston is also known for having more cloudy days that feel like you are living in a sauna. Houston typically has around 239 cloudy days compared to Dallas's 179 cloudy days, which I did find quite interesting to hear about, knowing that it is so hot. But it's just that hot, steamy sauna down in Houston that is even more so than you do get up here in the Dallas area. So humidity definitely a lot higher, and the heat. And not to mention they have a lot more hot days down in Houston than we do have up here in the Dallas area. Also down in Houston, they have the chance for hurricanes. Now, Hurricane Harvey hit back in 2017, and parts of the city of Houston down there recorded more than 30 inches of rain, and it caused over $125 billion in damages. Well, up in Dallas, it's a little bit closer to Tornado Alley. And while some of these areas have come close or had smaller twisters touch down a little bit, it is nothing compared to the damage that Houston has seen with the hurricanes that have gone through that area. Also up here in Dallas, hail is another story. You never know where it's going to hit. And it's another reason why the roofing business is so lucrative up here in the Dallas area. So another thing to think about, those crazy wind and hailstorms that do come through here in the Dallas area. But also in the wintertime, we have been known to see a little bit of snow and a little bit of ice. Well, sometimes we've had a lot of ice, but definitely that has been a lot more than compared to the Houston area. We're certainly going to see more colder days up here in the Dallas area, but granted, it's only going to probably last for a day or two, maybe a week at the most. So we are certainly going to have that opportunity for the cold up here in Dallas that you're really not going to get down in the Houston area. Now, another topic we always love to talk about is the food, because granted, we love eating. I mean, don't get me wrong, who doesn't, right? Well, that can be debatable because it does not matter who you talk to. Everybody is going to have an opinion. I think when we moved here to Texas, it's amazing how so many people have their opinion on their favorite barbecue or their favorite Tex-Mex, Mexican food, Asian food, whatever you're going to have, everybody has their favorites. Now, we have found a lot of great food here in the Dallas area, but we have friends and family that always like to debate this issue. So if you're going to go read online, you're going to find a lot of opinions about this as well. And I do think it's more of what you prefer. Now, while the Mexican restaurants and the Asian influence for restaurants and barbecue are up here in the Dallas area, I guess I'd say that maybe I'd give that Mexican food opportunity down to those folks down in Houston compared here to the Dallas area, especially coming from Arizona where we had a lot more authentic Mexican food. We found some great Mexican food, but I would call it a little bit more Tex-Mex, not truly your authentic Mexican food that we had back home, but we have found a lot more of those options, and our friends have talked about it quite a bit, those that live down in the Houston area. But I will say for barbecue and Asian food, we have found some phenomenal options here in Dallas, multiple options. So you can certainly find it no matter where it is that you're going, and depending on what it is that you like. So food, I think I would probably give that a toss up, except for maybe your authentic Mexican food down in Houston. Now let's talk about activities. Well, I am 100% going to give this to Dallas as being the big winner. Everything from sports to water parks, Six Flags, the options up in the Dallas area really are endless. You have every single pro sport team represented up here in Dallas. You also have minor league teams. Dallas has something for everybody. And that's also going to go for the lake life. If you want to be able to get out and enjoy the lake, if you have a boat, if you want to go paddleboarding, or you even want to just find one of these lakes to go swimming, you have multiple lakes here in the Dallas area. But Houston, of course, does have the real beach. But does anybody really love going to Galveston for a beautiful getaway? I would think not. We've been there, and while it is nice to maybe touch that water, it's not exactly those clear crystal blue waters or the beautiful beaches and oceans like you get in California. But you can get down to Corpus Christi or South Padre Island a little bit easier if you are living down in the Houston area. But you're most certainly probably going to need to plan for a little bit of time off in order to be able to do that. And of course, there really isn't much in the way of a lake life down in the Houston area either. You do have Lake Houston that is up in the northeast part of the Houston metro near Atascocita and Kingwood, but not much else is really going to keep you cool unless you have your own pool in the backyard or maybe a community pool. So, certainly, I would say activities, head on up to Dallas for something to do all year long. And down in the Houston area, I mean, you got those options, but just not nearly as many. So, our vote for sure is going to be Dallas. Another thing that people like to talk about is the nightlife. And granted, I'm old, I got older kids, I've been around the block for quite a while. But if you're truly looking for maybe that young professional vibe or you like to go out on a regular basis, there are certainly going to be a lot of areas in both the Dallas and the Houston area. Dallas has a lot of areas to be able to go and do that. From downtown Dallas, you can go down to Deep Ellum to eat, listen to music, or you can head over to Fort Worth for some great food, concerts, and even a rodeo. You can also head up into the legacy area of Plano or Frisco in order to get out and meet up with some friends. So lots of options in regards to the nightlife here in Dallas. You don't just have to go into downtown Dallas where there are lots of options, but you can get over into Fort Worth and, like I said, even up into the Plano Frisco area as well. You can, of course, go clubbing down in the Houston area as well. They're actually known for their club scene. We've had multiple friends whose kids have just loved living down there because there's a lot of things to do if you are younger and have a lot more energy. But I really don't feel that there are nearly as many options for things to do if you do want to go out, whether you are young or old, like there are up here in the Dallas area. So, just my opinion, nightlife depends on your age, depends on what it is that you like to do. So, Dallas versus Houston, it's certainly going to be probably a toss up with that one. Now, of course, if you are going to be relocating here to either one of these cities from some of the big metro areas like Chicago or New York, for example, you are certainly going to want to be thinking about your transportation. Well, public transportation here in Texas, Dallas versus Houston, is certainly going to be drastically different than other parts of the country. The public transportation here in Dallas has about 90 miles of the DART light rail system with 62 stations across 13 of the major metro cities. And it does move an average of 96,000 people during the week and 57,000 people just on Saturdays. And if you're living down in the Houston area, the transit system is certainly a lot smaller. It's only 23 miles of tracks with 44 stations, and it's all within the city limits of Houston. It averages around 63,000 riders on the weekdays and 31,000 riders on Saturdays. Both cities, though, I would really suggest that you need a car to get around the area. Yes, here in Dallas, you have some opportunities for some areas that you can live and not really have to rely on a car. But if you want to get out of town, if you want to go visit friends, if you want to go shopping, you're most certainly going to be wanting to have a car in both areas. Not to mention the freeway systems in both the Dallas and the Houston area. The Dallas freeways do seem to be like this big spider web of freeways, or maybe that's just me, that take you all around the metro. In fact, I will say there is nothing better than navigation living here in the Dallas area, because if you don't realize you need to be on the left side or the right side and that you're going to be switching freeways, especially if you're heading up somewhere like Frisco and down into Fort Worth, you are certainly going to have a chance at getting lost, because I know I do. In fact, if I'm not listening to what my navigation is telling me, there have been so many times where I've ended up going in the left lane and I've headed in the complete opposite direction of where I was trying to go just because of how the freeway system is up here in the Dallas area. But when you head down into Houston, Houston really is kind of its own major hub of a metro, and it now has 3 freeway loops that head all around the city. And it's like it has the offshoots of the freeway that head straight out from the downtown area of Houston. So I would probably say their freeway system is a little bit more organized down in the Houston area, but you're really just dealing with one big major metro area compared to here in the Dallas area, where you have Dallas and Fort Worth, and even up north into Frisco. You have freeways that head east and west. You have a couple freeways that kind of loop around, but the freeways all kind of meet up, and you just really kind of need to make sure you're on the right one depending on where it is that you're going. And last but not least, the last touch point that we want to get into is the crime in these two particular cities. Obviously, we don't like to touch on it a whole lot, and it does tend to cause a little bit of a controversy, but it is what it is. Now, in regards to crime, down in Houston, violent crime is ranked at a 50.4 and property crime at about a 63.2. And up in Dallas, violent crimes are ranked at a 37 and property crimes at 50.7. And the national average for both of these, the violent crimes is 22.7 and property crimes at 35.4. So both cities are ranked above the national average, but Houston does have a lot more crime than the Dallas metro area, according to the statistics that you find online. So that's another one of those things that we always recommend you go and doing your research based on which particular city that you want to live in. Obviously, when you're moving to a major metro area, if you are going to live downtown, you are going to see more crime than you are going to see out in the suburbs, but certainly something that you should research on your own before you get into making any major decisions. So, which one of these cities is right for you? Is it Dallas? Is it Houston? Which one do you think would fit you the best? I mean, we have had family, like I said, that lived in Houston, and we almost moved to Houston, but ultimately we have landed here in Dallas. We have now lived here almost 12 years, and we have absolutely loved it. So if you have any questions at all about what it's like living here, what might be the best place for you, don't hesitate to reach out. Give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email and let us know how we can help you find the perfect place here in the Dallas area. And as we always say, don't forget to leave a comment below and tell us your thoughts on the video and some other things that maybe we have left out, and your pros and your cons based on these particular cities and which one would be right for you. And until next time, take care.